Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. We are going to be talking about every single book I rated 5 stars in the year of 2024. I read around 140 books this year so far. We still have a week left. I know I'm not going to be reading any new books. I'm just doing rereads for the end of the year. So this is 100% all of my 5 stars of 2024. Let's get into this. So I don't have any of these books in a specific order except for my top 10 books, but I'll let you know when we get to that point. I'm not going to go into very much detail about each book because that would take forever and ever. So I just really wanted to share all the 5 stars I read this year because obviously this is a book channel where we talk about books that I really loved and that I would recommend. Let's first start off with the 2 Harry Potter books I read this year, which is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. These books were insanely good. I would give each of them 6 stars even. Like, I love these so very much. I can't wait to do a reread. Then we had Dune, the graphic novel, book 1. I'm just obsessed with Dune, as we all know, and so I simply had to rate this 5 stars because the artwork was so stunning. I already know I love the story. I'm just so happy I was able to read this year. Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany D. Jackson was such a splendid surprise for me. I'm just so happy I found her this year. She's just such an incredibly talented author. I cannot wait to read more from her. We have a nonfiction, and that is My Name is Barbara by Barbara Streisand, a 1,000-page memoir that is just so stunning. I am so happy I read this. I just loved learning about her life, and now I want to watch every single movie she's ever been in. Now we have a couple classics on this list, one of them being The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This was a reread. I read it in high school and I loved it even more the second time I read this year. It was just so phenomenal. There's so many things you can learn from this and I had to give it 5 stars. Now 2 books in the same series, Powerful and Powerless. I really love these books and I know they get so much hate because they're kind of basic, but I hate to use the word basic because that just means that people like it. We have a couple more nonfictions right here. First one being Move Like Water by Hannah Stowe. Such a beautiful memoir just about her life, her passions for sea creatures and the ocean. It just, like, I want to be Miss Hannah Stowe. If you are a lover of the ocean, of all things sea life, I would read this 100%. It is just so impactful. Then we have Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann, my favorite nonfiction author. I think I've only read 2 books from him so far, but they left such an impact on my life that like I'll remember them forever and I would definitely reread this. This has been made into a movie, but I've heard that the book is a lot better than the movie. I would recommend this. It's insane. It's about the Osage tribe and just crazy things that happen to them. So tragic, but the story overall is just so well put together and is something that will just sit with you forever. We have a recent 5 star and that is Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. A huge undertaking, but it was so worth it. I really enjoyed this. It just takes place 100 years before, or 300 years before A Game of Thrones, and it just tells the story of the Targaryen bloodline and all the kings and queens and everything, and it's so good. It's very brutal, but it is told like you are reading a history textbook, which I actually really enjoyed. And we have 2 books in a series, one of my new favorite series ever, and that's Mistborn. So we first read The Well of Ascension, and then the second book is The Hero of Ages.
Hi guys, I made an error while I was filming this and I'm accidentally holding up the second and third book. The first book is just called Mistborn. I'm gonna correct my error later on in the video, but if you noticed I was holding up the wrong books, that is my bad.
I love this so much. The magic system is so unique and I just loved learning about it so much. I can't wait to read this again. It's just a book series that I feel like you could read over and over and just keep getting stuff out of it. I had so much fun reading this. We have Bad Blood, which is the final book in the Natural series. This is the only one I rated 5 stars, but I feel like if I went back and read it again, I would also rate all in 5 stars, but since I didn't, it's just not included in this. But Bad Blood is just the final book in that series, a series about teenage FBI agents. Such a good time, and this series ending just was so perfect. It really couldn't have been better in my opinion. Then we have The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. That's how I've always pronounced it in my head. I should probably look that up. People didn't like this one and I'm so confused because it was such a good time. This is just a thriller set on a private island with famous people, really rich people. It's dramatic, it's crazy, the plot twists are wild, and I just really loved it. Another Tiffany D. Jackson book is Grown. This was the first one I read from her. So impactful and just devastating to say the least, but it was so wonderful at the same time. I know I'm saying the word "so" a lot in this video, so I apologize for that. Shark Heart, a love story by Emily Haybeck. This will just be with me forever. I have never cried harder to a book before. It is about this man who is like slowly turning into a shark, and him and his wife had just gotten married. And it is like a metaphor for terminal illnesses and cancer and just like things like that. It is so heartbreaking. We have an entire trilogy, and that is Shadow and Bone. So we have number 1, which is Shadow and Bone. Number 2, which is Siege and Storm. People usually like this one the least, but I loved it. And Ruin and Rising. These are all by Leigh Bardugo. I loved this series. I really did. I cannot wait to get into, what is it called? Six of Crows. I don't even know how to begin explaining this story. You'll just have to look it up yourself. I don't know, but it is so wonderful. It's just a YA fantasy series. Those were all the books that were not in the top 10. Let's talk about the top 10. Oh, wait. I forgot, I wrote down a couple books that I don't have in my collection. The first one is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. This is by Shauna McGuire, I think. Oh my goodness. It was so impactful for me, and I think about this book like daily almost. That's an exaggeration. I do think about it at least once a week, I swear, because it's just that incredible. It's about these twins who find themselves in a magical world by entering this doorway. It's their home. It becomes their home. One of the twins goes to live with like the vampire lord. Another twin goes to live with the mad scientist. They're living their separate lives, and then it just, oh my goodness. It is so short, but it really left an imprint on me. I will never stop thinking about it. And then we have A Whale of the Wild. I don't remember who this is by. This is like a middle grade book, but it is about these whales, and it's this like sister and her little brother, and they get lost from their family and they're trying to find their way back. It was so much more emotional than I thought it was going to be. I cried. The illustrations were really beautiful. I would totally recommend this if you have children, like getting this book for them. I don't think it's too dark or anything. It's just a really beautiful story, and I really loved it. Okay, now top 10. In 10th place, we have Dragon Fruit. This is by Makia Lussier. Oh my goodness. I haven't heard anyone talking about this book. And since I read it, I have just been obsessed with it. It's about this girl who was like in a coma. Her and the queen were in this kind of coma thing because they had been poisoned. Her dad stole a dragon fruit, which is a dragon egg, and fed it to her. When you consume a dragon fruit, anything you want can happen, but it comes at a high cost. So she wakes up from this coma, but then her dad dies. And then it's just like following the story from there. The queen is also in a coma. So the rest of the book, they're just trying to find another dragon egg to feed to the queen so she can wake up. It's so wonderful. It's so magical. There are sea dragons. The font is so good. Everything about this book is perfection. I originally had rated it like 4.5 stars, but I couldn't stop thinking about how amazing it is, so I bumped it up to a 5-star. Even though I know it's not perfect, but still to me, it's a 5 stars. In ninth place, we have Dracula by Bram Stoker. Never would I ever have thought that Dracula would be in my top 10 favorite books of the year, but here we are. It's obviously about Dracula, who's a vampire. You're following different stories throughout the book, and it's just so creepy and spooky and quite literally perfect. I loved this so very much. In eighth place, we have A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I am not surprised that this book is in my top 10 because when I read it, I just recently read it like last month or something, but when I read it, I knew this was going to stick with me forever. Just the plot of getting like stuck in your favorite book world and getting to meet all your favorite characters and become friends with them. It's amazing and perfect. I'm so happy I read this. In seventh place, we have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This was the very first book I read this year. What a book. I loved Divine Rivals, which was the first book to this duology, but I loved this one even more. Oh my goodness. The stakes were so high. The romance was so stunningly beautiful. It was so intense. There's one scene that I just think about all the time because it gave me the biggest feeling of dread and like, oh, I have to read this again. In sixth place, we have 3 books, but that is books number 3, 4, and 5 in the Binding 13 series. It is just this crazy, beautiful romance series. I mean, it is romance, but it's so much more than that. And we all know I don't really enjoy romance, so having like these be in my top 10 favorite reads is crazy. I can't stop thinking about these books, and I'm 100% going to be rereading them very soon. I will remember these characters for forever. They feel like my friends. And I know that's kind of sad to say, but they feel like real people and I love them so much. In fifth place, we have guys, I just realized I made an error. This is Mistborn. This is the first book. This was supposed to be, I had just mixed up the books. The first Mistborn book is not in my top 10. I meant to have The Hero of Ages be in my top 10. This is supposed to be number 5, not Mistborn. So if you were watching this video earlier and you thought, hey, The Hero of Ages is not the second book, you're very much correct. Anyways, sorry for that mix up. This is number 5. The Hero of Ages. This was the final book in the Mistborn trilogy. It was the best ending to a fantasy series I have ever read in my life. Probably the best ending to any series ever. I had no idea what was gonna happen next. If you read the first book, it is like, getting to this point is like insane. You just have to read it. You just have to read it. It is phenomenal. We are down to the final 4. In fourth place, we have Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I know this is not going to be in people's top favorite books of the year, but for me, it was a 6-star read. It was so incredibly wonderful. I will never get over this book series. The first book is about Violet Sorrengail. She has wanted to be a scribe all of her life, but then her mother makes her join the Dragon Riders school, which is very deadly, very intense, and people are always trying to kill each other. The dragons in this book are really the best part, and also Xaden Ryerson, of course, but this is just the sequel to that book. It was so incredible. I love it just as much as I loved Fourth Wing. I am rereading this again in January, and I can't wait. In third place, we again have 3 books, and that is Heir of Fire, Empire of Storms, and Kingdom of Ash. I lumped these all together because they're in the same series, and they like take up the same place in my mind. These are all 5-star, 6-star reads. I love Throne of Glass. We know I love Throne of Glass. I am currently reading the series again. So obviously I love this series, but I read these ones at the beginning of the year and oh my goodness, they are so good. If you take anything from this video, please just read Throne of Glass. It's the best series ever, besides ACOTAR. In second place, we have Binding and Keeping 13. The way that I think about these books and these characters literally every day is weird. I love Johnny and Shannon. That is who these two books are about. The other books in the series are not about Johnny and Shannon. They're about other books or other people in the series. But Johnny and Shannon, they are my favorites. Their love and just their whole story is so incredible. Like I said, I'll never get over them. I'm obsessed with them. They feel like they're my friends for real, and I can't believe they're fake characters. And here we have my favorite book of the entire year. Can anyone take a guess? If you guessed Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas, you would be correct. I'm rereading this one right now. This is my current read, and it's just reminding me of why I love it so, so much. This one specifically, it's just like if you know, you know, you know? There's no part of this book that I wish we could skip over. There's nothing that I think, that didn't need to be there really. Every word in this book is perfect. Every character is perfect. Even when they suck, they're written so well. I am obviously a huge fan of Sarah J Maas. I don't get it when people hate on Sarah J Maas's writing. Like, obviously we have our different likes and different opinions, but for me, she is just top tier. I love her so much, and this series will just be written on my heart until the end of time. And that's it, guys. Those are all of my 5 stars. If I missed a few, that is my bad. I did the best that I could to try to like bring all these books together and try to remember all my 5 stars. But there you have it. All my 5 stars of 2024. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here this year and watching my videos and supporting me. I love doing YouTube. Even though I have a small following, it doesn't really matter to me because I just love making videos and talking about one of my biggest passions, which is reading. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.